Well, let's go back to our story about the governorship election in Ekiti State. TVC senior political correspondent Ayodele Ozugbakun is with the Ekiti State Governor-elect Kayode Fayemi, and he's joining us live from Ekiti. Over to you now, Ayo.
Thank you for having me, Veronica. And it's the next day after the much talked about governorship election in Ekiti State. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Kayode Fayemi.
Thank you for having me, Aya.
I listened to the candidate of the People's Democratic Party describing the exercise yesterday as the most audacious electoral robbery of our recent history.
Really?
That is what he said in his press conference.
And does that make any sense to anyone who has been remotely, not even directly, involved in this process over the last 24 hours? I am not saying by any stretch of the imagination that this process was a perfect 2020, but despite the, few minor breaches that were referred to, by and large, this process can be clearly said to have been free, fair, and transparent, and therefore credible. And I believe that's what the bulk of the observers, international, local, have said about the process. INEC has tried to be fair to all parties. The security agencies have tried to become an equal opportunity security agencies. We've had some of our own people apprehended, and we were not happy about that. Some of the people on the other side were apprehended. I'm sure they weren't happy about that. So really, I think it's medicine after death when people argue this way. But then it's well within the right of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party to choose to accept or reject the results that was clearly announced by INEC. But what is not right for their party was to have gone ahead to start announcing fake results on state television and radio station. That actually is tantamount to treason, if you ask me. The Electoral Act forbids it. The Criminal Code forbids it. And I hope, and it's against the Broadcasting Commission's code. So I hope further measures are going to be taken against those who perpetrated that particular crime beyond just the closure of the state radio and television responsible for that.
He also accused your party of intimidating would-be voters, as in using what he called the federal might.
Come on. Ayo, you were here, and you've been here the whole of this week. You were also here in 2014. I urge you to bring back the clips in 2014. Let PDP leaders come and inform on a scale of 1 to 10 how many people were intimidated. Or yes, I had Governor Fayemi talking about his chief of staff being picked up. The question is, what was the chief of staff picked up for? Was he just picked up because police didn't like his face, or did he commit any electoral offense? This is what should be probed further. And if you're accusing APC of anything, do you have specific allegations that you want to put before the law enforcement agencies? I believe they've been fair to everyone. I believe this process has produced a result that is the authentic outcome of what transpired at the ballot. So for me, if anyone is complaining about the process is not 100% correct. Don't forget, INEC introduced a number of innovations that had not been tried and tested before now. Ekiti happened to have been the, if you like, guinea pig for INEC's use of those initiatives and innovations. One, the electronic transmission of results happened for the first time in this election. So it really doesn't matter if you want to snatch the ballot box after the presiding officers had completed their job. You are well within your rights to do whatever you like. The result would have reached the database of INEC. It's only the paperwork that you may have been able to tamper with. But I don't even think that happened. So you have that. You have the enhanced card reader. And of course, the enhanced card reader did not perform excellently across the length and breadth of the state. But in most places, it did. It worked just on one try for me. Yeah, but it didn't work that way for my wife. So, on balance, you can see that these things are technological. They're mechanical in nature. They would have problems. And INEC would need to continue to really work on the system in order to produce something that is widely and wholly acceptable. We must never let the perfect become the enemy of the good. I have been a victim of this process, the electoral process, that was not as good as what we have witnessed now. I mean, I ran in 2007. We're even talking about enhanced card reader. Come on. I can write a book on what I went through. Absolutely. So there's progress.
Moving forward now, the process of healing the states. You are going to be presiding over a divided state, so to say. When you look at, you emerge with close to 200,000 votes, that's 197, and your counterpart actually emerged with 178,000 votes. How are you going to bring Ekiti together?
If anyone is qualified to do that, I believe without being immodest that I am. I have the experience, I have the exposure, I have the education to rise above pettiness, to rise above small-mindedness, and to unite our people. I am going to be governor of all. I'm not going to be governor of a party. Election is a process. And at the point of going to the poll, it's bound to be divisive. I mean, because it's a context for power, let's face it. However, once that's over, governance starts. And we're talking about governance. Ekiti's problems are not personal. I don't have anything against Olushola Eleka. I don't even know him that well to have anything against him. I don't even know, I can't even say Mr. Afashe is my enemy in that sense. Yes, he's an opponent, but I know him. He's the governor of my state. I respect the office that he holds. I respect him for holding that office. I don't really have grudges against anyone. And nobody can really tell you that, oh, Kayode Fayemi is this vindictive person who never forgives or who is out to seek revenge for a particular reason. No. So for me, I am in a position, and I am extraordinarily fortunate, let's face it. So I do have a duty to demonstrate God's love and faith in me, because I'm his vessel to heal the wounds of our people. Backlog of salaries.
Okay, let me just pause you there. Let me just take this commercial break. When we come back, we'll still have Dr. Kayode Fayemi, the governor-elect of Ekiti State, with us. Please stay with us. This is our special studio for Ekiti 2018 governorship election. I have the governor-elect, Dr. John Kayode Fayemi, in the studio. Thank you for still staying with us, Doctor.
Thank you for having me.
You were talking about, before we went on that break, bringing Ekiti.
Yes, so absolutely. Nerves are naturally frayed during elections because words are exchanged, hot words are exchanged. But once elections are over, we must focus on governance. We must focus on what I said throughout my campaign, restoring the values of our people and reclaiming the land. Because what we have lost in the last 4 years is civility, decorum, decency, respect for our institutions and our elders, dignity for our workers, a sense of self-worth for our people. Those are the values that we must return to in order to get full reconciliation. I hold no grudge against anyone, and I plead for forgiveness from those that may have been offended by any act of omission or commission on my part when I was governor in the state, or even during this campaign. For me, the only reason why I'm in this is because I believe a greater Ekiti is possible, and all of us can work towards it.
Priority now, talking in terms of priority, the civil servants in Ekiti State will be looking at our backlog. I watched your electioneering campaign and I saw you with pensioners, and I saw the number of months. I saw, the civil servants in this state. I know the number of months they are owed. How do you intend to dispense on this?
Well, that's the challenge of governance. That's also why I have been elected by the people. They believed my explanation when I campaigned. So it's no use now gnashing my teeth. How am I going to solve these problems? What they want is solutions. And what I'm going to do is use the 3 months gap that I have before I take over as governor in the state to work out in very precise, measurable terms how to clear the backlog of workers' salaries, how to ensure that we stay regularly in payment of workers' salaries, just as I did when I was governor, and how to ensure that we bring investment to Ekiti, because government alone cannot do it. Government is not a complete solution provider. It is by enabling the various enterprises to provide solutions that societies thrive. That's what we did when we were here, and that's what we must do when we return. But we just must do it with renewed vigor, with determination, and ensuring that we have an inclusive process. That's the priority for me. But first, let's clear the backlog of our salaries and make our people happy again, because it's painful. 6 months, no salary. There's nothing you can say to such a person that he or she will listen to. But when I was here as governor, they also know that I did a lot of things for workers. Increased workers' salaries 3 times in 4 years that I was in office, paid rural teachers allowance, paid course subject allowance, was the first state in the whole of the Southwest to pay commerce and corners to help workers, provided a whole range of support systems for workers.
Doctor,
that's
there you go again.
What's coming
Doctor
back.
is still campaigning. You won the elections.
No, I'm not campaigning. I'm telling you what I did and what our workers are likely to enjoy when I return.
As Governor Ayodele should reach out to you in the last 24 hours.
I don't believe he has done so. I'm still looking forward to hearing from him. But then again, he's not the candidate of the PDP. I would expect the candidate to reach out. The governor is the governor of all. If he wants to reach out to me, I'm a citizen of the state. I would be happy to listen to him. But at some point, he would not have a choice. The transition team would have to meet.
In the next 4 years, what should the people of Ekiti, as they call them, expect from you?
Ekiti would have to expect that this is a government that will restore for them respect in the Committee of States. Right now, we're a laughing stock in Nigeria, and we need to get that disgrace out of our system and restore Ekiti back to its pride of place.
I want to say congratulations to you once again, and I wish you the best of luck.